Folks, welcome back to Jerome Bee Farm and Homestead. Today is Saturday, April 25th, and we're coming off a week of cold, rainy weather. Tuesday it got down to 29 degrees, and we need to get into these two splits that we made back on the 13th. It's been 11 days since we made those splits. I didn't give them any food. I gave them a pretty good population, and we just need to get in there and check on them. I brought a couple of extra nuke boxes down here. I'm going to put that on top of them and put a feeder on there. So I'll give them each a quart or whatever I've got. I got almost a half a gallon there. We'll see how much, but that'll help them out and help them get established a little faster. But those are artificial swarm splits where I pulled that queen out of hives 6 and 10 that had swarm cells. So Hive 6 and 10 are queenless, and they are requeening with those swarm cells. It's a little bit early, 11 days, to get in there and find a queen that's laying. I doubt she'd be laying. I might find a queen in there, but to spend my time in there doing that, I could be checking other hives for other swarm cells and possibly making some splits there. But today we're going to get into these two splits and nuke boxes and check them out, be sure they're okay, and get a little bit of feed on them and give them a little bit of boost. So let's get going. Okay, this here's split number 4, and while I was standing there putting on my gloves and getting ready, getting my hive tools, I did not see one single bee coming or going out of here. So that's not a good sign. Let's see what we find in here. So this is the split that came from number 10. This is the one you saw me do. Oh, it's okay. There's just not a lot going on. And we got water standing in here, so we need to get a shim under the back of this, because that is not good at all. So we got us bees there. I see some bringing pollen in now. Here's a little piece of 1 by I'm going to put under the back, get that water out of there. Let that water run out. So when you make your hive stands, you should have them a little higher in the back than the front. These were originally like that, but they've settled and warped a little bit over time. Give them just a little smoke. So they started drawing this out. That's good. So we're in the height of our nectar flow right now, but like I said, it's been cold and they have not been able to forage pretty much all last week or this week. Still got a little bit of cap brood left on here. Looks like there's enough population in here that they could keep that warm. So I'm not worried about it not emerging. One of these frames I remember had a lot of larvae and the queen was on it. So I assume that's this one right here. I also see some fresh larvae. Right there, see the white. So the queen's laying in here. She's laid eggs and those have developed into larvae. And they're able to sustain them with enough, they're bringing in enough food. There's some capped honey on here on the corners. So they've got plenty to eat. I'm not seeing much pollen though. So I see the larvae on both sides. So I think this nuke's good. I was concerned with that 29 degree night, and they're drawn out on that a little bit. So we should find our queen on this frame. Yep, there she is. She's marked blue. Last year's queen right there doing good. On all this is capped brood here. So they're going to have a pretty good population boom here when all those emerge. Get our frames back together, and we'll get a feeder on here. Okay, so I don't want to use an entrance feeder on the entrance because other bees could start robbing this and take over that. This hive might abscond if a bunch of other bees come in there and start raiding it out, and they take the honey and everything else in there. So let's so I put these on the inside. I normally like to put it on top of an inner cover. I don't have one handy right now, so I'm just going to put it right there, and it's leaning to the back, so if any nectar drips off in there, it'll go that direction, because I got this hive tilted that direction now. So you don't want sugar water dripping down on your bees where your brood is. That's not good. So I got some 50-50 sugar water here and some Pro Health mixed in with it. So you notice when I turned it over, a little bit did splash out and went down on the bottom, but you can see none of it's coming out. It's staying in there. But those bees will get up in there and they'll start working on that. That'll help them draw this comb out faster, so they don't have to go fly and get nectar and bring it back to build comb. They got resource right there, and they can spend all their time foraging for pollen. They may be a little low right now because the few days that they haven't been able to forage pretty much all last week, last probably 5 days I'd say. So we'll cover this up and other bees can't get to it, strictly for this hive only. You do have to watch for ants when you start feeding like this. Ants will make a weaker colony like this abscond and leave. Okay, this one's good. It's all set for a while. Let's get over and check on number 18, and that's the queen that came out of number 6. Okay, here's hive 18. So this one I remember putting more resources in it, a few more bees than that other split. Several people, well, a few people commented, ooh, they're grumpy. Smoke. So a few people commented that they thought I should have put more brood in. So that hive we just looked at, it had 2 full frames of brood, and normally I would have put another drawn comb in there and maybe shook another frame of bees or had another brood frame. I always have at least 2. One thing I didn't mention is in February we had that really extreme cold spell and it was extended, so the bees used a lot of their resources, and they're not near as strong. For the most part, all of my colonies are not near as strong as they were last year at this same time. I have 2 hives that are pretty strong, and that's the ones I split. But I am trying to conserve my brood frames right now, because in May I will have 6 queens coming from Wildflower Meadows, and I want to be sure I have enough good brood frames that I don't really wipe out my colonies and set them back even more once, and use those frames now and not have as many later. So I'm trying to use them sparingly is what I'm trying to say. So I hope that made sense. But the key to success to doing a split into a nuke like this, plenty of bees, right? You got to have a lot of bees in there. At least 2 brood frames, preferably 3, and a frame that's got a lot of honey and a frame that's got a lot of pollen. Some frames will have a little bit of all of that. So this is pretty much an empty frame right here. This frame was blank and I had wax coated it. And they're not doing anything there. Drawing it out a little bit right there. And looks like they are starting to draw it out right there. Boy, that didn't look like it got a very good coat of wax on it. Whoa. About dropped that sucker. So there's a little bit of broods left emerging out here. So this was a brood frame. It's getting kind of late in the evening, so a lot of bees are in the hive right now. Man, we've got larvae right here. So our queen's laying in here. So there, see the light color? That's larva. So she's laid in there. I blew on them to get them out of that spot so you could see. So they're doing good. I wish they had another frame of comb. And we've got lots of capped right there. I don't see our queen, but I know she's in here somewhere with that larva in there. We know she's in here laying. They're just piled on top of each other. So unless I see her marking, I'm not going to find her. Actually, I think this queen wasn't marked, and I need to mark her blue. So we'll spend a few minutes looking for her. Maybe we can get her marked. Blue is for last year's queen. Nope, I spotted her. She's right there. She's a dark queen. That's why I was having a hard time finding her. So on these one-handed queen catchers, you get the catcher on top of your queen. Don't try to catch her from the side. And when she's in there, wait for her to start climbing up the side. And then you slide the slide underneath her. We got a lot of attendants, but they'll work their way out. Push that plunger up a little bit so that some of those attendants will work their way out of there. So when you mark a queen, get your pen ready, get it primed. There, so the tip of my pen is wet. There we go. There she is right there, see? Marked. As soon as you mark her, pull it down. And give it a minute or two to dry, and then you release her back. Okay, we'll get her released now. That attendant there doesn't like that blue on her. She's checking it out. There we go. So I'm going to put this frame with the comb next to this other one that has comb. Okay, so I went and grabbed another frame. See how much wax is on that compared to that other one? I mean, you can just see the wax on there. And so we moved that one comb up next to them, so they got 3 good drawn frames right together. 2 of them they got brood on. One, the queen looked like she was laying on pretty good. So this new carrier, this split has more bees than the other one. And that queen, she didn't look real lively. I don't know if I traumatized her marking her there or what happened, but usually they come out of that marker a little more active than that. I don't think I got that catcher on top of her. So same thing here, we're gonna give them a feeder. Okay, so I went over to the barn and looking for some inner covers because I really don't want to leave them like this. I wish I had an inner cover in there, but I did find these. So it's a top cover with a hole for your jar. So I made these last year. So I'm going to use this and get rid of that box on the top real quick. There we go. Now I'm going to let this drip away from the box and let that clear out, and then I'll put it over. Okay, I like that a lot better. You don't want to use this type of setup in the summertime because the glass heats up and it pushes the sugar water out. So it could even do that this time of year. So I've got it towards the front. It's leaning toward the front. So if it does drip a little bit, it'll stay there and it won't run down the frames all the way to the back. It'll just be contained to this one end. So hopefully they'll get to eating on that and build up the little suction there, and it'll be just fine. I like this a lot better than that big box and all that empty space. So that's the end of the video. Give me a thumbs up if you would, and subscribe to my channel before you leave, and we'll catch you on the next beekeeping video. Y'all take care.